Well, hi again, everybody. And for the third straight time, we have the St. Louis Browns at the Boston Red Sox. The Browns are 2 games out of first, Red Sox 1.5. Everyone's trying to catch up to Cleveland. And we'll see how this one works for the Red Sox, who have Cy Young on the mound. Cy Young, of course, 3-6 is his record. Good ERA, not a great record. Hope Ferris rolls a 21 for a 30. It's a fly ball to Kravitz and left. There's one away. Here's Jimmy Williams. Jimmy rolls a 65 for a 35. That will spark a little E-roll. It's a 12, which means it's going to be an air charge to the shortstop, Piney Wagner. And so Williams finds a way to get on. That'll bring up George Stone. Williams does not have that 11, so we won't risk the hit and run. Roll for Stone's a 65 for a 35. It's a pop-up. The catcher, Krieger, has that for the out. 2 away, and here comes Jim Stevens. And Stevens rolls a 23 for a 32. It's a fly ball to center field. Sullivan has that. We go to the bottom of the first. Be Doc Gessler to lead this off for the Red Sox. Gessler against Jack Powell rolls a 41 for a 28. It's a ground ball to short, and Wallace has that on to first, 1 away. Brings up Amby McConnell, who's hitting 283. Jack Powell 3-3 is a record, 2.24 ERA and 216 batted against average. Not quite Cy Young. McConnell rolls a 64 for a 13. There's a strikeout. Now there's 2 away. Here comes Bob Unglaub. Unglaub hitting 285. That's how the Red Sox have done it. They've hit well. His roll is a 31 for an 8. It's a fly ball to center. Hoffman's got it. We go to the top of the second. Roy Hartzell leads this off for the Browns. 266. Rolls a 12 for a 24. It's a ground ball to short. Piney Wagner this time makes the play. Throws to first. 1 away. Here's Danny Hoffman. Danny rolls a 22 for a 7. It's a single to right, and that'll bring up Tom Jones. So they're starting to go around a little bit for the Browns, and the question is, do we hit and run or bunt? And it looks like we're going to hit and run with that 11. Rolls a 34 for a 44, and of course that's a single. Welcome to APBA ball. So Jones gets the base hit. Hoffman goes all the way around to third. That'll bring up Bobby Wallace, and now you have a question as to whether you want to bunt or what exactly you want to do. I think the Red Sox will bring the infield in. Just taking a look here, the thing we want to avoid are 13s. Wallace doesn't have a whole bunch of them, so I think we will risk the bunt, and we'll have a little suicide squeeze, see if we can get ourselves off of a little bit surprised, off guard. The roll is a 14 for a 43. Beautiful bunt over to the first base side. Unglaub has nowhere to go with it but first base. Throws to McConnell. Jones moves up to second, and the run scores. It's 1-0 St. Louis. Here now is Jack Powell. So Cy Young, 1.43 ERA and 197 batted against average. That's why you bunt there. Roll for Powell is a 35 for a 13, and there's a strikeout. First one rung up by Young, and we go to the bottom of the second. It will be Denny Sullivan here for the Red Sox. He's hitting 254, and his roll is a 64 for a 13. That's a strikeout. Second recorded by Powell. 1 away. Here's Gravy Kravitz. He rolls a 52 for a 27. That's a ground ball to third base. Ferris on to first. 2 away, and here's Piney Wagner. He rolled a 13 for a 14. That'll be a walk, and that'll bring up Harry Lord, runner on at first base for the Red Sox. And Harry rolls a 64 for a 13. That's the third strikeout that Powell has recorded, and we go to the top of the third. Hope Ferris up here for the Browns. He rolls a 21 for a 30. It's a fly ball to left, and Kravitz has that for the out. 1 away. But you never imagine a pitcher with a 1.42 ERA would have a 3-6 record. Jimmy Williams rolls a 66 for a 0. Got to wonder what the other guy looks like. Next rolls a 64 for a 6, and that'll be a double to right center field. So Williams on base, and that'll bring up George Stone. That batted against average creeping up almost at 200, heaven forbid. Here comes Stone. He rolls a 23 for a 32. It's a fly ball to right field, and it's caught by Gessler, but he has a poor arm. Williams challenges it, goes to third uncontested. They'll bring up Jim Stevens. He's got a 253 batting average, has driven in 7. And Jim rolls a 45 for a 14, so Young gives up a rare walk. 13th he's given up this season, and that brings up Roy Hartzell. Roy rolls a 51 for an 8. That's going to be a single that'll score another run, and the other runner goes to third, but Hartzell, because of the little C, will try to steal second afterwards and is caught. We, however, go to the bottom of the third inning. It's 2-0 now St. Louis. Here comes Lou Krieger. He rolls a 15 for a 9. That's a single over short, and that'll bring up Young, and of course he's going to bunt. Cy Young hitting 172. He rolls a 64 for a 13. See, that's only a foul strike unless you got a runner on a third. Then you're a dead duck. Rolls a 62 for a 12. There is a little E roll. It's an 11, so it's within the range. Changed in 18, this is a error on Wallace, and so both shortstops end up with an error, and Young ends up on at first base on a surprise after trying to bunt. We'll bring up Doc Gessler, runners on at first and second, nobody out. Gessler rolls as 24 for a 31, fly ball to center, and Hoffman has that for the out, one away. Here comes Andy McConnell, and you better bet that the Browns are hoping for the double play here. Rolls a 35 for a 9. That's an infield hit. They don't get the double play. They don't get anything out of it. McConnell ends up loading the bases, and that brings up Bob Unglaub, and the infield will come in. Unglaub will swing away. Rolls a 65 for a 35. That's a strikeout. What a big strikeout by Powell, who collects his fourth. I'll bring up Denny Sullivan now. 2 outs, bottom of the third. Key moment of this ballgame. And you saw it there. Sullivan rolls an 11 for a 0. Next rolls a 25 for a 2, and that's a big triple to deep left field, poorly played by Stone, and by the time he gets that ball, Sullivan is standing on a third base, and all 3 men have scored. 3-2 now Red Sox. Here's Gabby Kravitz. Gabby rolls a 53 for a 17, changed to 19, and that's going to be a ground ball over to third base. Ferris has it, throws to first, and we go to the top of the fourth, but the damage has been done. 3-2 now Red Sox. Here's Danny Hoffman. Danny rolls a 52 for a 27, ground ball over to third, and Lord throws to first, one away. Here's Tom Jones. So Cy Young, the recipient of a lot of bad luck so far this season. Otherwise, the Red Sox are clearly in first. Jones rolls a 46 for a 30. It's a fly ball to left. Stone has it, 2 away. I'm sorry, not Stone. It's Kravitz who has it, 2 away. Here's Bobby Wallace. He rolls a 33 for a 7. So there's another base hit off of Young. He's given up 5. They'll bring up Jack Powell, the pitcher, but with 2 outs, not much to hope for. He rolls a 31 for a 9, so it's another infield hit. 6th hit now off of Young, and that brings up Hope Ferris, and this inning continues. Ferris hitting 310. He's 0 for 2 today with 2 fly balls over to Kravitz on the left. And his roll is a 22 for a 7, and that's a single that will score 1, tie this ballgame up, and Powell, the pitcher, goes all the way over to third. That'll bring up Jimmy Williams. So Ferris does not have great wheels. We won't hit and run. Williams rolls a 42 for a 13, and down he goes. So Young gets his second strikeout, and we go to the bottom of the fourth, all evened up. Here's Heine Wagner. Wagner today, walk in his only plate appearance. Roll is a 41 for a 28, ground ball over to short. Wallace on to first, 1 away. Here's Harry Lord. He rolls a 63 for a 31, fly ball to center. Hoffman's got that, 2 away. Here's Krieger. He rolls a 15 for a 9. There's a single over short, but that brings up, of course, the pitcher Young, and he's going to stay in this game. His roll 36 for a 33. It's a pop-up in foul territory. Ferris has that for the out. We go now to the top of the 5th inning. 3-3 tie. Exciting game. Here's George Stone. Stone rolls a 44 for a 7. That's a single to right, and that'll bring up Stevens. So runner on at first base again. The 8th hit now against Young, and Stone is fast. Here we go. Rolls a 31 for a 36, and that's a stolen base by Stone and a wild pitch. So they give him a stolen base and the wild pitch. Stone makes it all the way to third, and that might change the complexion of this one. The infield will come in. Stevens will swing away. Rolls a 54 for a 45. There's a little E-roll. It's a 32 out of the range. Fly ball to right field, and it's caught by Gessler. He's got a poor arm, and so the runner Stone is able to score, and it's a 4-3 game. With 1 out here in the top of the 5th, that'll bring up Roy Hartzell. And he rolls a 21 for a 30. A little fly ball to left. Kravitz again, 2 away. Here comes Danny Hoffman. His roll a 34 for a 44. There is that little E-roll again. It's a 64, which is out of the range. Fly ball to center. Sullivan has that. But we go here to the bottom of the 5th inning. 4-3 Browns. Here's Doc Gessler. Gessler, who's 0 for 2, rolls a 43 for a 29. Comebacker to Powell. Throws to first. 1 away. Up now is McConnell. He singled and scored a run and has also struck out. His roll 31 for a 9. That's a single, but then he's going to be caught stealing. So 5th hit now off of Powell, but no base runner survives. 2 away. Here's Unglaub. Bob rolls a 16 for a 28. Ground ball to short. Wallace throws to first, and we go to the top of the 6th. Tom Jones up here now for the Browns. Jones 1 for 2. He rolls a 55 for an A. That'll be a single, but the little C gets him caught. 9th hit now off of Young. Brings up Bobby Wallace. Wallace rolls a 35 for a 14, and so he walks, and that'll bring up Jack Powell. I tell you, Young has nobody to blame for himself. 2 walks, and he's given up 9 hits. Powell will bunt. 43 for a 29. It's a bad bunt over to first base. Unglaub throws over to Wagner, and they get the lead runner, so it doesn't count as a sacrifice. 2 away, and here's Ferris. Hope Ferris is 1 for 3 today as an RBI, hitting .314. His roll is a 45 for a 14. That'll be a ball. Next roll is an 11 for a 0. Do it one more. It's a 65 for an 8, and that'll be a single. And the runner on first, Powell, tries to go to third. He's thrown out. Sullivan with a good throw over there to Lord. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. 4-3 Browns still. Here's Denny Sullivan. Rolls a 41 for a 28. Ground ball to Wallace at short. He throws to first. 1 away. Those automatic throwouts on the base paths can get you frustrated from time to time. I've seen a lot of those. Here's Kravitz. He rolls a 52. There we go. For a 27. Ground ball to third base. Ferris throws to first. 2 away. Here's Heine Wagner. Wagner rolls a 15 for an 11. It's a base hit, and he ends up stealing second. So that brings up Harry Lord. Sometimes the boards give you a base, and sometimes it takes you away. Here comes Lord with the runner on his second, down by 1. He rolls a 56 for a 34. It's a high pop-up. Williams has that one easily. We go to the top of the 7th. And here comes Jimmy Williams. Williams today 1 for 3. He did reach on an error in addition to his double and run scored. He rolls a 23 for a 32. Fly ball to right. Gessler has that. There's 1 away. George Stone now. Stone rolls a 63 for a 31. Fly ball to center. Sullivan has that. There's 2 away. And here comes Jim Stevens. Stevens roll 35 for a 22. Changed to a 20. And that's going to be a line drive, a very soft one that is over to McConnell at second. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and here comes Lou Krieger. So it's getting down to just a couple outs left. Krieger rolls a 32 for a 26. It's a soft ground ball to Williams, who throws to first, 1 away. And here's Young again. Cy Young rolls a 62 for a 12. It's a ground ball to first, and Jones does that himself, 2 away. And here comes Gessler. Gessler hitting .319, but he didn't help himself today, 0 for 3. His roll 34 for a 44. There's a little E-roll, so there's a chance, but it's a 41. Fly ball to center. Hoffman's got that for the out. We go to the top of the 8th. 4-3 St. Louis. Here's Roy Hartzell. Hartzell rolls a 21 for a 30. Fly ball to left, and Kravitz has that for the out. 1 away. Here comes Danny Hoffman. Danny rolls a 42 for a 22. Changed to 19. That's going to be an error on the third baseman, Lord. I tell you, of all the places, you know, the Red Sox have such a problem there with that infield, and especially with third base. You need somebody a little bit better than that. Hoffman ends up the runner on at first, and here comes that hit and run again. Tom Jones up, rolls a 14 for a 43. It's a fly ball to left, and Kravitz has that. There's 2 away, and that'll bring up Bobby Wallace. Hoffman, of course, makes it back to first. Wallace rolls a 14 for a 43 again. This time fly ball to center. Sullivan has that, and we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be Andy McConnell to lead this off against Jack Powell. His roll 31 for a 9. That's a pop up to the left side. Ferris has that, and there's 1 away. Bob Unglaub rolls a 31 for an 8, so he gets a single. Hit number 7 for the Red Sox. That brings up Sullivan. Unglaub does not have that 11 that we look for, so we'll see what happens here with Denny. His roll of 21 for a 30, and it's a fly ball to Stone for the second out. We probably should have bunted with him in retrospect. 2 away, and here's Kravitz. He rolls a 43 for a 29, so come back to Powell, who throws to first, and we go to the top of the 9th, so bunting wouldn't have done much. Here comes Powell, the pitcher, to lead off the top of the 9th. Of course, he's staying in this game, as has Young. His roll of 44 for a 7, so he will help his own cause again. Second hit of the game for Powell, who's now 2 for 4. He resides on first base, and that'll bring up Hope Ferris. Powell, you don't suppose... No, he doesn't. Doesn't have the speed number. Ferris rolls a 33 for a 0. And the next roll is a 22 for his 2, and that's a triple down the right field line. That makes this a 5-3 ball game. You have to wonder if you want to stick with Young or not. Maybe we stick with him a little bit longer, but I'm not sure about that. 5-3 now, Browns. Jimmy Williams rolls a 44 for an 8, and that'll score the runner. And now it's a 6-3 game, and I think we do have to take Young out. Let's see who we can put in here. I think Ralph Glaze is going to be the pitcher who comes in for Young. So Cy Young gives up 6 runs in this game, 13 hits, not pitching as well as he has. He'll give way to Ralph Glaze, who's got 3 innings pitched and a 10.8 ERA for 1908. And the roll by George Stone's a 15 for an 11. That sends Williams to third, and Stone then steals second. That'll bring up Jim Stevens. So the Browns are hoping that the floodgates are opening. Stevens now rolls a 35 for a 22, change to 16. It's a fly ball deep to center. Sullivan makes the catch. Both runners advance. 7-3. Here comes Roy Hartzell. He rolls a 62 for a 12. There's a little E-roll. It's a 65 out of the range. Fly ball to right field, caught by Gessler. The runner tries to score, and he throws home, and they get him. Good play by Krieger to make the tag. And so we go to the bottom of the ninth. But the Browns score 3, and they lead now 7-3. And this game's been broken wide open. Here comes Heine Wagner. He's 1 for 2, hitting 269. He rolls a 45 for a 14, so he gets on base again. Another walk. Second walk that Powell's issued, and that'll bring up Harry Lord. He rolls a 64 for a 13, so Powell gets the strikeout. 1 away. Here comes Krieger. He rolls a 45 for a 14. That's a ball. Next roll, 41 for a 28. Ground ball to short. Wallace on to first. 2 away, and that'll bring up a pinch hitter here for Glaze. We're not going to let him bat for himself. It looks like it's probably going to be Laporte, and it will. So Frank Laporte comes in as the pinch hitter. 7-3 Red Sox. Only 1 out remaining for the Browns. I'm sorry, 7-3 Browns, I should say. And there you go. Rolls an 11 for a 0. Then a 52 for an 11. So that's a single, and that'll score the runner. Laporte then steals second, and it's 7-4. And here they come. Powell stays in for the time being. Here's Gessler. Rolls a 55 for an 8. That's a single scoring a run, and then he's... I'm sorry, that's a single, and the run does not score because Laporte was slow. So it's a good throw by Hoffman over to the catcher Stevens to get him. And there you go. There's your final score. The Browns win this one 7-4. Now they advance to 20-15. Both St. Louis and Boston will be tied. And we'll see what happens with some of these other games coming up. We'll see what goes on. The American League sort of depends upon whether the Athletics are able to keep winning or the Naps end up winning. Those two teams will play a little bit later on. I think maybe about 3-4 days from now. We'll see what day that ends up being. But your final score here is a 7-4 Browns, and the American League in 1908 continues to get tighter. A lot different than the National League, by the way. I'll talk with you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.